Phoenix, get ready for an action-packed soccer Saturday. Phoenix Rising takes on rival Sacramento Republic in a special matinee showdown on Saturday, April 19th at 1 p.m. Arrive early for the Valley's biggest Easter egg hunt, packed with unique and fun prizes for kids. Plus, score an exclusive Phoenix Rising Croc Charm free at the gate while supplies last. Tickets start at just $15. Get yours now at phxrisingfc.com. Big stakes, bigger rivalry. Be there.
Connect directly, bid confidently. At Purple Wave Auction, transparency is key. With no reserves and no hidden surprises, you're connected directly to sellers so you can inspect and bid on quality equipment with confidence. Whether you're looking for ag, construction, or fleet equipment, we're here to ensure a clear, hassle-free experience. Register today at purplewave.com and start bidding with peace of mind. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
At Nationwide Vision, we know that every precious moment in life becomes brighter when your vision is in focus, which is why we combine expert care with the latest technology to bring those details into view. With treatment that puts you first and eyewear that gives you the confidence to look and feel your best, we help you see the little things clearly and live them fully. Schedule your appointment today and find your focus at Nationwide Vision.
At Shane Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know. That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Are you tired of seeing rust stains in your sinks? Call Culligan. Or scrubbing hard water scale buildup from your fixtures. Call Culligan. We can customize whole home solutions to address common water worries found in Phoenix. And now, for a limited time, you can get better water at every tap in your home for $0 down, no payments, and no interest for 6 months. Problem water is no problem for Culligan. Contact your local water expert today. Contaminants may not be in your water. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for details.
Catch the Spring and Bloom event at Whole Foods Market with savings for Easter, casual gatherings, and more. Save on no antibiotics ever meat, best of season spring produce, brunch favorites, sweets, and more through April 22nd.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
Have the Suns learned their lessons? The question that we are still trying to answer here, a day after the Suns make the decision to fire their head basketball coach. Welcome into the Thursday edition of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060, streaming on the KDUS AM 1060 app. And the video version of the program available to you on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel. Chris Schubert with you for the next 2 hours on the Tuesday edition of the program. We got producer Evan in the building, and we still continue to unweave this ball of yarn that the Phoenix Suns presented to us yesterday. And maybe not so much presented to us yesterday as it has been a ball of yarn that has grown throughout the course of the season that we now have to untangle all of the offseason. And it is the coach and the coaching search where we start today's program.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
Yesterday was a lot of reaction to what the Suns did. Making the move to change coaches, deciding that they wanted to bring in another new voice to this organization, admitting their failures once again when it comes to the coaching position. That was yesterday. Today really feels like the first day, the start of the what's next. What is this process going to look like for the Phoenix Suns? And I think one question that we still have surrounding everything that's going to happen, we're just scratching the surface, ladies and gentlemen. Players are going to change. There might be moves in the front office. There are free agents, trades that could be made. There's a draft night. I mean, this roster is going to look so different 6 months from now. When we start next season, you're going to almost forget everything that went on over this summer. But before we get there, we have one very major question that I think this team needs to answer. And that is, have they learned from their mistakes? Have they learned from the failures of the last 2.5 seasons? Has Matt Ishbia learned the lessons that you need to learn over your first 2.5 years as an owner? Bought the team in December of 2022. The ink was dry on the contract sometime in January of 23. Here we are in April of 25. 2.5 years later, the Phoenix Suns are yet again in the middle of a coaching search, yet again in the middle of a crossroads of their organization. Have they learned their lessons? Have they owned up to their mistakes? I think there is one early sign that will tell us if they are on the right path. I don't want to say that it will tell us with 100% certainty that they have owned up to their mistakes, that they've learned from their mistakes, but I think it would be a small breadcrumb that points us in the right direction, and that would be how they conduct this coaching search. It was May 9th, 2024, when the Phoenix Suns made the decision, after a couple of weeks, to part ways with Frank Vogel. It was May 11th of 2024. It was 2 days later that they hired Mike Budenholzer as their head coach. A robust 2-day coaching search for the Phoenix Suns the last go around. It was very much a case of, hey, Coach Bud, would you take this job if it was available? Yeah, I'd take this job if it was available. Okay. Hey, Frank, you're fired. Hey, Mike, the job's open. What are the terms? All right. It'll take us 2 days to work out the contract, but we're done here. That was the Suns coaching search the last time around. The first time around, when they moved on from Monty Williams and they decided to go with Frank Vogel, it was, we need somebody established. We need somebody with a championship pedigree. I saw a story this morning, I believe it was on ESPN, that used the word obsessed to describe Matt Ishbia's pursuit of a coach with a championship pedigree. We saw that over the last 2 seasons, and we saw what that got the Phoenix Suns over the last 2 seasons. If you want to prove to me, and I think you, the listener, Suns fans out there consuming this program feel the same way. You want me to buy back in? You want me to believe that we are, I think the phrase we keep using on the show, rowing the boat in the right direction? I got to see how you conduct this coaching search. I have to see you cast the widest net possible. I'm talking to ex-coaches who maybe are out of the league. I'm talking to current NBA coaches who may want to pivot to a new opportunity. I'm talking to college coaches. I'm talking to assistant coaches. I am talking to ex-players. I am talking to everybody underneath, this pun is intended, underneath the face of the sun during this coaching search. I need to make up for the failure of the last couple of coaching searches where I didn't cast a wide net. I want the net to be so wide. I want the names on the list to be so obscure at times that we wonder truly what the Suns are doing. I want you to talk to an assistant coach at a college university. That's how in-depth this coaching search needs to be. You want to show me that you've learned? You want to show that you are dedicated, committed to turning this around and doing things the right way, not looking for the quick fix? Because that's what these 2.5 years have been, everybody. It has been a quick fix mentality there in the front office. If you want to show us, because trust me, I've heard it. I know you've heard it too. People who sometimes speak for the team without saying they speak for the team talk about how the Suns have learned their lessons. The Suns understand that they need to do better. I don't want to hear words. I want to see actions. One of the first actions this organization can take to show me, not tell me, that things are going to be different, that things are going to be better, I need the widest net cast ever in the history of coaching searches. What if we just took a shot? Right. I want you to talk to everybody that might be interested in this job. I want you to conduct so many interviews that at some point we say enough is enough, and then I want you to keep interviewing people. That's how robust this coaching search needs to be. If you want to make up for past mistakes, if you want to send a message that it is going to be different, do the due diligence that you haven't done the last couple of years. If you want to shed 4 coaches in 4 years, if you want to shed the new owner syndrome, then conduct a buttoned-up, top-down, cover every basis coaching search. That is a small step to pushing this in the right direction. Now, that's fine. If you want to go into this coaching search having a couple of candidates that you want to put in a tier amongst themselves, maybe an ex-player, maybe somebody who has ties to the Suns, a young and up-and-coming assistant. We outlined yesterday some of the boxes that we think they should try to check with this coaching search. I'm good with that. I'm good with some prerequisites that you want to have, but that doesn't mean you don't talk. I know Michael Malone and Taylor Jenkins may not fit that box. Guess what? Talk to them anyway, because you know what you can learn from that process? Hey, what do you think's wrong with this team? Hey, what would you change if you were the coach? Even if you're not going to hire them, don't you think it's smart to listen to smart people, diagnose your problem, and gather that intel to make your process after you hire the head coach better? A coaching search doesn't just have to be about hiring the right guy or gal, but you can also learn a lot about your franchise by talking to people. That's what the Suns need to do during this coaching search. It needs to be a wide net, and it needs to show us that they are willing to listen to what other people have to say about their team.
Kind of took the words right out of my mouth. When you do multiple interviews, you take 10, 15, each one of them is going to try and diagnose what the Suns' problem has been, not just last year, but over the last few years. You're going to get 10, 15 different opinions, some I'm sure overlapping, about how to diagnose your own problem. And then you're going to be able to pick which of my solutions is my favorite in the head coach. But I do have this question. We've already talked about how there's more attractive positions open. We've already talked about how 4 years and four coaches in 4 years could kind of make this position less attractive. What if you do take longer and interview 20 different people? Do other jobs start to fill? Do you not get your pick of the litter anymore?
This is why I strongly advocated for the position of making a move before yesterday. Because of the 4, because the Kings are also in the mix. I keep forgetting about them because they fired Mike Brown so long ago. But there are 4 teams right now that we know are going to be looking for coaches this offseason. Right now, 4. That doesn't include anybody that might fizzle out in the postseason and may want to make a change. But you've got 4 teams right now that are going to be interested in getting a new head coach that we know are going to be conducting a coaching search. You know on the surface that you are probably behind all 3 of those other teams because you've gone through 3 coaches in 3 years. This is another coaching search. There is kind of an expectation to win right away. You have an owner who feels very aggressive and wants to get to it, doesn't want to take time, doesn't want to have patience, right? And so that may be a turnoff to some of these coaching candidates. But you know what? If you conduct the right coaching search, if you conduct a thorough coaching search, do we think there's only one good candidate for the Phoenix Suns? Is there only one good candidate to be the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns? Do we think the pool of quality head coaching candidates for the Phoenix Suns is that small? Now, again, I've been on record that they are going to be behind everybody else. That's why you get a jump on it. That's why you can start your process. While those teams are playing in the playoffs, you can conduct your interviews right now. So that's where maybe you can bridge the gap. But at the end of the day, if you conduct the right coaching search and you conduct a thorough enough coaching search, you are going to have more than one qualified candidate. You are going to be able to get to the end of this and have 2 or 3 different candidates at least that check the boxes that you're looking for. And I see Michael on the YouTube stream say, my question is, who wants to come here? There are still only 30 of these jobs. And I know this may be an unpopular opinion because I saw a little bit of it yesterday. You get to coach Devin Booker, who is one of the best players on the planet. You also get to work for an owner who has shown that when the time it dictates it, he will push the chips in the middle. He will spend money. He will pay the luxury tax. He will go past the first apron. He will go past the second apron, even though it doesn't make sense. He will pull all of the levers in pursuit of winning a championship. That, to some coaches, might be an attractive quality to have in an owner. I know that comes with some drawbacks. One of the drawbacks is because he is so aggressive, because he wants to win so badly, he may have a quick fuse, and if things don't go well, if things go south, a change gets made. But I don't know. If I was in the mix, I would think long and hard about being able to coach Devin Booker, being able to get in on what would be the ground floor of this retool and having my voice be heard about the type of player I want to coach. I might also really appreciate the idea of working for an owner who I know, if we get this thing going in the right direction, is going to support me beyond belief. I'm going to have the most support out of any franchise in the NBA. That is attractive. Is that going to be what brings everybody to the table? No. Some people are going to look at this job and say, I don't want to be the next guy on that list. I don't want to be the 5th coach in 5 years. I don't want to get added to a laundry list of coaches that Devin Booker has had coach him, and the laundry list of coaches that the Suns have rolled through trying to figure out somebody that can put them over the top. You're going to have some that run to this opportunity. You're going to have some that run away from this opportunity. Absolutely. I just think the pool of people that are going to run towards it, there's going to be a good number of them, and the Suns are not going to be left out in the rain without an umbrella. They are going to have a dance partner when the next song comes up from the DJ. I guarantee it. They're going to find somebody that checks all of their boxes. Maybe that's me being very optimistic to start the Tuesday edition of the program, but I think this coaching search, if they do it the right way, if they do some half-baked, we're going to hire a coach in the next week, that's not going to cut it. Take your time. And if somebody else wants to run to another job because you're taking your time trying to do this right, so be it. That's going to happen sometimes. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join the conversation. We've also got you on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream as well. When we come back, is there anything that the Cardinals could do on draft night that would surprise us? That's next. The lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show live with Vince D'Alicio every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Features all the local youth, high school, college sports, and more, both around the Valley and beyond. Enjoy go-to segments with coaches and players from around the Valley. Tune in to the Varsity Sports Show with Vince and guests Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060. Online at KTUS1060.com and the KTUS 1060 app.
The Offspring. Supercharged worldwide in 25. One unforgettable summer night. The Offspring, live in Phoenix. With special guests, Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory. Playing Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater August 27th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. 3 great bands. One incredible show. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Colina. We've purchased 2 Fulton homes in the last 7 years. We would never buy anywhere but Fulton homes.
We actually tried other builders, looked at them, and nothing compares to Fulton quality. We're repeat builders with Fulton. It's been an amazing process, and we would never go anywhere else after experiencing it. The process working with the Fulton team was great. They cared. We got updates, and you could just tell how much they were excited, almost as much as we are. Fulton is so good at the homes they build. The quality you get is just really unmatched. They continue to care about us as a client, even though we've now finished the sale. I admired their communities because they were always a step above. The amount of landscaping, the way it was always groomed. They add the features that you want to be outside, you want to be in the community. And that matters to us. We want to be outside, not just in the home. And all the amenities are just amazing. We would buy Fulton Homes again in a heartbeat. I don't think we'd consider anybody else.
Fulton Homes. You're proud to own, we're proud to build. As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. I'm just not sure that any of us had a better weekend than Rory McIlroy, who in finally winning the green jacket and taking down the career Grand Slam called it, quote, the best day of my golfing life, end quote. Well, given who he is, that really is saying something. And given the day he was having, that very well could have been one of the worst days of his golfing life. I mean, how many times did he win that tournament yesterday with a big lead, only to let it get away with some of the worst golf shots you'll ever see a future Hall of Famer make, only to rip it right back with some of the best shots of his entire career? This dude practically played a lifetime of golf in only 19 holes. But all is well that ends well, and Rory gets that gigantic monkey off his back. And to his question after he did it, now, what will we all talk about at next year's Masters? I'm Jim Rome. The basketball playoffs are here on Prize Picks, the best place to cash in on the action. The app is so simple to use. Just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code ROME. Get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. That's code ROME on Prize Picks to get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get the $50 bonus credit just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. You don't have to be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Springfest deals are still in full swing at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 bags of Stay Green Premium Color 2 cubic foot mulch for only $10. And get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $300 when you buy 2 or more select GE kitchen appliances of $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
The lunch break.
The tough conversation that this team, I still think, has to have is what are they going to do with the front office? James Jones's contract is up at the end of June. I don't think we can live in a world where we just let that contract expire and then make a change. And I sit here today to tell you that while I agree with the decision that was made by the Phoenix Suns, it cannot stop there.
The lunch break. Heard from 11 to 1 here on KDUS AM 1060 and the KDUS AM 1060 app.
We move closer to the NFL draft. What surprises are in store for us all? I saw this morning the Giants are having private workouts this week with Shedeur Sanders, Tyler Shuck out of Texas Tech, Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. Could they be making a late push to draft a quarterback at number 3? Could they re-enter the back part of the first round for either Tyler Shuck or Jalen Milroe? There are plenty of surprises still in front of us. Could there be a surprise in store for us all when it comes to the Arizona Cardinals? What could this team do, if anything, on draft night that would surprise us? Now, I think somehow drafting Abdul Carter would be surprising to me, but I don't know if that's in the spirit of what we're trying to do here. But that would be surprising if they ended up with Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. But let's be realistic. We've talked about staying pat at 16. We've talked about who they might trade up for if they were so inclined. What scenario would have to play out for them to want to move back in the draft? We've kind of looked at all the different things that they could do with the 16th overall pick. Is there anything that they could do on night 1 of the draft that would be a complete and total shock, surprise? And
I don't know if there's anything that immediately jumps to mind, right? Again, we talked about Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. Like, if they took a quarterback, that would be surprising. But again, I'm trying to stay somewhat realistic here with how I attack this. I saw somebody, when we said the tease before the last break, taking a wide receiver. I don't think that would surprise me on draft night if the Cardinals took a wide receiver with the 16th overall pick. I mean, I've campaigned for them to take Matthew Golden with that pick.
I was going to say, you and I have talked about how much we love Golden. Honestly, I would be a little surprised if they moved up. Wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be on the ground, but I would certainly be surprised if they move up.
So, all right, of the three things, let's do it this way. Standing pat, trading up, trading down. Most surprising to least surprising. Those three outcomes. We won't talk about specific players. Trade up, trade down, stand pat. Most surprising thing, I agree with you, would be trading up. I think until we see them do it, until we see this front office have that aggressiveness, and because they have limited draft capital this year, we just kind of assume they're not going to be intrigued by it. So that would be somewhat surprising. Would I be floored? Would my jaw be on the floor? Would I be shocked if they did it? No, I would not be shocked if they did it. But of the three scenarios that we talk about with the 16th overall pick, it would be the most surprising. I think the second most surprising thing that they could do would be to stand pat and just pick a player at 16. The least surprising thing of all time, would not use the term surprising at all to describe this, would be them moving out of the 16th overall pick and deciding, you know what, I want more draft picks. I want to move down a couple of spots. I want to reevaluate the board.
Isn't that funny? Like, the least surprising outcome is still them trading.
Yes, the least surprising outcome is them making a move. Yes.
So thought of, that's just what they're going to do. It's going to move back. Everybody's been talking about it for months now. It feels, with the players they need, with the positions that they need, it just feels like the correct move.
I also do think there's part of us that want it to be the move, right? And I think when you want something, you sometimes force it to be the thing that they do. I think all of us understand that there is probably going to be an opportunity on draft night to move back, turn your 6 picks into maybe 8 picks, add some more swings at the bat, and still end up getting a really good player out of the first round. So there's a chance for them to do that. I think we want them to do that. And so I think that's what pushes us in that direction. Now, before we continue, this is why I love the YouTube audience, because they dunked on Producer Evan here. Because Producer Evan has the camera in front of him for the YouTube live stream. Producer Evan's audio for the live stream comes out of the same microphone that my audio comes out of, but he has the other microphone on. So we got a little bit of an echo. Have you addressed the echo?
No.
So you have an echo, which I believe is coming from your laptop microphone. So everyone's hearing you double. They're hearing you say that you want this team to trade down in stereo, which again, it's a good point. But if you're saying it in stereo and I'm saying it, now we're saying it 3 times. So it's not great. So I just wanted to alert you to that, Producer Evan, because you just love it when I correct you on the air about things. So surprise. I would say trading up would be the most surprising thing. I think taking a position outside of the 4 positions that we've discussed on the air are probably a surprise, right? If they took if they took a running back, that would be surprising. If they took a linebacker, that might be somewhat surprising. If they took a safety, that would be surprising. I'm just thinking of positions that they could take on night one that would be surprising. Quarterback, they're not taking. Offensive lineman wouldn't be surprising. Defensive lineman wouldn't be surprising. Edge wouldn't be surprising. Corner, if it was Will Johnson, wouldn't be surprising. So specific position groups, there's only a couple. Safety, linebacker, that's a non-edge, and running back. I don't even think running back's a realistic thing in the first round.
No, they're not taking a running back.
But that's it. I mean, everything else we've discussed is realistic, a realistic outcome on draft night.
100%. I truly believe this team will move back, like we said. I think they will take an edge. I would be a little surprised if they do go Will Johnson. I would be more surprised if they stand pat at 16 and go with Matthew Golden, even though that's something we've outlined. Out of the players that we talked about if they're at 16, we're not going to pass, and we gave those 5 names last week. Out of the players on that list, the ones I'd be more surprised if they ended up with, and maybe that's not even that they picked them, it's that they got there. The names that come to mind are Will Johnson and Matthew Golden for me.
Yeah, and I think for a team that's picking in a spot where you can't even today know who's going to be on the board at 16, I think we've kind of outlined every decent outcome for them, right? The trade down, the trade up, the stand pat, and what it may look like with a couple of names at each spot. They just now need to decide in the moment what is the best course of action for them. They know, I think, today, maybe it'll get finalized over the next couple of days. I mean, their board's pretty locked in at this point. They know who their top 5, 10 players are. They know who the players are that they won't trade out of 16 if they get there. They know the players that if they start to fall, they may start to get a twitch in their eye to want to move up a little bit. They know where on their board they start to feel comfortable with the idea of trading down. They know all of that on draft night. Now it's just going to be seeing what happens, reacting to it, and making the best decision for the organization, for the franchise, and picking the right player. Because we're going to talk about this a little bit in hour number 2 of the program, but there is pressure on this team to get some talent in this draft. There is pressure to add to this roster in a meaningful way to help them in 2025. So that pressure is there. They have to, I don't want to say hit a home run, but do they need to hit a couple of singles, maybe a double? Yeah, they absolutely have to do that in the draft. 480-864-1060, the phone number, if you want to join us here today on the show. When we come back, we have said that the net needs to be wide. Who might be in it? That's next, the lunch break. KDUS, AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Breaking Benjamin. Stay forever. And 3 Days Grace. Live. October 8th at Desert Diamond Arena with special guest Return to Dust. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Don't miss Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace, presented by the Big Red Radio.
Hey, it's Pat. The other day at work, they brought in pizza for lunch, so I swooped in and I grabbed 3 slices. The coworker next to me said, "Geez, Pat, you can't have it all." Then I corrected him and said, "Yeah, I can, and you can too, with a new 2025 Toyota truck. Power and performance, capability and reliability." Well, I must have convinced him because he grabbed the plate out of my hand and he said, "Good point, Pat."
Right now, get 1.99% financing for 72 months on a new 2025 Tundra SR or SR5. Or get competitive financing or a great lease deal on a new Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma. Plus, check out the all-new 6th generation 4Runner, arriving daily at your Valley Toyota dealers. Shop anytime at valleytoyotadealers.com. Toyota, let's go places. 1.99% with $14.75 per thousand borrowed for 72 months. 0 down payment if you qualify. Offers end 4/30/25. See dealer for details.
Hear that? That's the sound of a loaded cash explosion. It happens every time someone wins loaded cash explosion scratchers from the Arizona Lottery. Oh, it's happening again. Since tickets are loaded with $1,000 prizes with explosive top prizes of $2.5 million. Plus, a second chance to win $1 million in the Players Club. Head to an Arizona Lottery retailer and play loaded cash explosion scratchers today.
When we say jumbo, we mean jumbo shrimp. Del Taco's Jumbo Shrimp Tacos are packing serious flavor. Crispy jumbo shrimp wrapped in a warm flour tortilla with crunchy cabbage, zesty pico de gallo, and our savory secret sauce. Get 2 jumbo shrimp tacos stuffed with big shrimp energy for just $6. That's right. Get 2 jumbo shrimp tacos for just $6 only at Del Taco. But hurry, this offer's here for a limited time. Price and participation may vary.
Every day, savings, energy efficiency, rebates. Every day at APS, you have ways to save energy and money. We know how important it is to keep your bill as low as possible. That's why we offer programs to help you manage your energy use. Schedule a home energy checkup for savings recommendations tailored to your home. Find rebates on smart thermostats. Compare your rate plan options and switch to the plan that would have saved you the most money. Find ways to save at aps.com/brighter.
The Varsity Sports Show live with Vince D'Alessio every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Features all the local youth, high school, college sports, and more, both around the Valley and beyond. Enjoy go-to segments with coaches and players from around the Valley. Tune in to the Varsity Sports Show with Vince and guests Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060. Online at KTUS1060.com and the KTUS 1060 app.
It is one thing to say that the Suns need to cast a wide net. It's another to start talking about some of the names that might appear on that list. And trust me, a bunch of people have begun to weigh in on what that list might look like. I was listening to Chris Haynes, a video that he did yesterday, a little bit after we got off the air, talking about the Phoenix Suns, and he listed a bunch of names that he thinks the Suns are going to be interested in. There's a story on the Arizona Republic, azcentral.com, that talk about some of the potential candidates. The lists are already out. And who doesn't love a good list? And when we talked the open of the show about casting a wide net and checking with every type of coach, ex-NBA coaches, established NBA coaches, college coaches, assistant coaches in the NBA. When we said that, the reason why I want the Suns to conduct a robust, thorough, in-depth coaching search is so that they can make sure that this is hopefully the last time we have to do this for a little bit. Because if you do it right, now, we're depending on the decision-making process for Matt Ishbia here. And let's face it, 2.5 years into him being the owner, I think we question the decisions that he has made and that process at times. But if you get this right and you do it the right way, you should be able to find your next head coach for what, the next decade? Again, if you do it right. If it's thorough, if you ask the right questions, if you go into it looking for the right set of parameters, if you go into it looking for the quick fix, then you are going to get back a bunch of coaches that fit that bill. And we know how that's worked the last 2 years you've tried it. If you go into it with an open mind, if you go into it with, I just want the best candidate that gets us on the right path, and that right path is, this might take 2 years. This might take 3 seasons before we're back. If you have that as your input into the system, the outputs that the system gives to you are going to reflect that. If you input, I just want a quick fix, I just want somebody that's going to help me win right away, then those are the types of candidates that are going to jump off the page to you. Those are the outputs that you are going to get. So I've got a Dwayne Rankin story up here from AZ Central. Who will become the next Phoenix Suns head coach? Here are some candidates. We'll just list them off and we can talk about them. Taylor Jenkins, Michael Malone, the top 2 names on this list. So Jenkins, who was fired by Memphis, Malone, who was fired by the Denver Nuggets. I don't think the Suns are going to go down this path. I don't think they're going to hire a recently fired head coach. They're going to go for somebody like a Michael Malone who has won an NBA championship like they've gone down the path with the last 2 coaches. Jenkins has ties to Bud, coached under Mike Budenholzer. Again, I think you talk to these guys.
You see what they think the problem is. Maybe they'll stand out to you. Maybe they'll surprise you in the interview process. But I don't know if I'm talking to Taylor Jenkins and Michael Malone with the expectation that they're one of the favorites for this job. Sam Cassell, longtime assistant coach who is currently with the Celtics, was an assistant last year with their championship team, won 2 NBA championships as a player with the Rockets. So that is going down the assistant bucket, an assistant from a winning team in Boston. Steve Nash. Now, I want to take us on a little bit of a journey. Tell everybody about a little bit of a story. So yesterday, the news, Coach Bud getting fired. And one of the first conversations we had in the morning meeting after that news was, who might they interview? And I said, young assistant, up-and-coming assistant, somebody who comes from a winning culture, who or at least was a part or was around when a winning culture was established. I said, I don't know if they're going to go for Michael Malone. I don't know if they're going to go for, an older coach. They might want somebody young. And then, I think at one point I threw out, do they call up Dan Hurley? Do they call up Jay Wright? I was throwing out all sorts of different people. And then out of the blue, producer Evan was like, you think they might talk to Steve Nash? And I paused and I was like, it's not the worst idea in the world to at least talk to Steve Nash. And Nash is listed here on this story. Now, I didn't ask you this in the moment, so I'll ask this of you now. Why was that one of the first names that popped into your mind? It was, I said Hurley, I said Jay Wright. One of the first names you said was Steve Nash. Why was he the first name that popped into your head? I'm curious.
Well, we talked about former player. So that was kind of going through my head.
He is certainly a former player. Does help that he was a former player for the Phoenix Suns, yes.
And then I was just thinking of coaches recently. And specifically, then I was thinking about Kevin Durant and things in Brooklyn. And then I was like, oh my God, Steve Nash coached there. Also, it helped that I can't remember how, but somehow JJ Redick came up in the Lakers hire and them bringing in JJ Redick. And so then I just thought Steve Nash. And I was just like, that would be interesting. But then you and I talked about it right after that, or right after I brought it up in the morning meeting. Is that just winning the press conference?
Yeah,
is Steve Nash just to get people excited for 6 games and then that warranty, that little excitement wears off? And
that would be my concern, right? My concern with hiring Steve Nash is that you would be doing that to try to win another press conference like you did last time, because there would be so much pomp and circumstance at that press conference.
Oh, it would be unbelievable.
You bring back a 2-time MVP. You bring back a guy who led one of the more impactful chapters of Phoenix Suns basketball. I know it didn't end well, right? But when people think back to the peak of Suns basketball, that's one of the chapters that you look at. When Steve Nash was here, he at least has some coaching experience. He was 94-67 with 2 playoff appearances. Was fired after a 2-5 start in 2022 and 2023. They did him dirty there in Brooklyn, firing him after 7 games. But worked with Kevin Durant, with James Harden, with Kyrie Irving. Now, the reason why you would do it, the reason why I would say this goes beyond winning the press conference is I do think there may be a drive in the building to push for an ex-player and somebody who played recently at that level. I've seen Jared Dudley's name be thrown around. He fits the same box as Steve Nash.
That was another name that I saw.
The only difference, Nash was a head coach for Brooklyn. Dudley is an assistant, but checks all the same boxes. Ex-player, an ex-player recently, a former Sun, right? Young and up and coming, relatively speaking, when we talk about coaching candidates. So again, Steve Nash, I think, would be more of winning the press conference, but there are reasons why it would not be a bad hire. Jarrett Jack, also on this list from Dwayne Rankin, was an assistant with the Suns with Monty Williams, went to Detroit with Monty, was retained there. He has been an assistant with the Pistons, who are going to play in the playoffs for JB Bickerstaff. Becky Hammond, I threw her name out to you in the morning meeting as somebody that I would bring in for
that was
interview.
An early one that we threw out there, and it seems to only be kind of really locked in. The more you read, her name comes up in every article.
I would interview her in a heartbeat. Worked for Pop with the Spurs. is coached the Las Vegas Aces in the WNBA to back-to-back titles, but has been an assistant at the NBA level, has been a head coach at the WNBA level, is a high basketball IQ, like somebody who I think is going to get it. And worst case scenario, I pick Becky Hammond's brain on what's wrong with the Suns, but I certainly would bring her in for an interview and have it be the top of the list. Micah Nori, longtime assistant with Michael Malone in Denver, is now in his 4th season with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Lindsey Harding, who is right now with the Los Angeles Lakers. She's an assistant for J.J. Redick. She was a player development coach in Philadelphia in 2018 and 2019, but she did finish her career with Phoenix in the WNBA. She was a number 1 overall pick with the Mercury in the 2007 WNBA draft, was traded on draft night, but did come back and finish her career with Phoenix. Chris Quinn, an assistant for the Miami Heat.
Was just about to say Chris Quinn, another guy who checks all those boxes. And as, stupid as it is sometimes, like the Heat culture thing is real.
Yeah, listen, if I'm going to take an assistant coach and somebody who doesn't have that head coaching experience, and I'm going to make the leap of, I think you're going to make a good head coach. I
trust the Heat.
Right. There are certain institutions and franchises I'm going to trust. I'm going to trust the Celtics. I'm going to trust the Heat. I am going to trust the Warriors, right? There are certain teams in the NBA right now where you just trust everything that comes out of that building. And so somebody that's worked with Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat. This is a guy that started as a player development coach a year ago, who is now an assistant coach with the Heat, has been with Spoelstra from the get-go. You don't think that's a trusted member of that culture? You don't think that's somebody who gets it? And so those are the names that are going to stand out for me. Because if I'm going to take a swing and not get somebody established, and we think the pendulum is going to swing in that direction, if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to step outside of the comfort zone of NBA championship winning coach, somebody who's established, who has a resume longer than a CVS receipt, that is able to be a coach at the NBA level, if I'm going to step outside that box, then it's got to be somebody who comes from a program, an organization that I believe in their building blocks. I believe in their foundation. The Miami Heat would be towards the top of that list. So yeah, Chris Quinn makes so much sense. There are others. We mentioned Chris Haynes put out a list earlier. He had Kevin Young on there, who was a former Suns assistant now with BYU. I think that's an interesting name to keep an eye on. He mentioned Jared Dudley. He mentioned Johnny Bryant, who is an assistant now with the Cavs. Mike Brown, the former Kings coach. Willie Green, who right now is the Pelicans coach. Sean Sweeney. You can see that the early reports on who the Suns might be interested in and these lists of who might be candidates, a wider net. That is an encouraging sign here because it was the last coaching search. Tomorrow would be the day that they would hire a head coach. They fired Frank Vogel. 2 days later, they hired Mike Budenholzer. They fired Coach Bud yesterday. They followed the same path. Tomorrow, they would hire a new head coach. They're not doing that. They need to take their time. This needs to be a robust head coaching search, and it needs to include some of the names that we just talked about. And I want to be so bored with producer Evan giving me updates on who the Suns are interviewing. I want us to play a breaking news sounder and have reports of interviews so often that you get sick and tired of the notification going off. That's how robust and in-depth this coaching search needs to be.
You and I just listed 8-9 names
it might be
that I
digits.
would take all of them.
So far of the names that we mentioned, there are a bunch on there that check the boxes I'm looking for.
I think as far as the boxes, 6 or 7 of those, you went down the list and went, former player, younger, could help build a culture, bang, 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 checking. And I don't know how you wouldn't bring each and every one of them into the building.
Again, it's why I'm not concerned about them getting a quality candidate as long as they do this correctly. As long as they take their lumps and they actually embrace this process. They've never embraced this process in the past. Embrace this process. Don't look for the quick fix. Find somebody who, while coaching elsewhere, you can make a lifer. Grab somebody who then is going to be remembered as one of the great head coaches in Phoenix Suns basketball history. Don't look for the quick fix. When we come back, we'll wrap up hour number 1 of the program. The best part of the Diamondbacks so far this season it also might be the thing that keeps them around all season long. We'll tell you what that is next. It's the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
The legacy continues. Pantera. The heaviest tour of the summer. What you say? Tearing up Talking Sick Resort Amphitheater, August 26th. With Amon Amarth. On sale now at LiveNation.com. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Handling, hand tools, and things you never knew you needed. If you work in the construction industry or trades, we are your place to shop. Fisher Tools is here to meet the needs of construction pros, facility maintenance, safety, and anyone that wants to have the tools to get the job done right. We carry Milwaukee, DeWalt, Makita, Proto, MSA, Knack, Steel, and so much more.
Hi, I'm Diane Fisher. From our humble beginnings in 1964 at the Phoenix Park and Swap to our 4-acre campus, located just south of Tempe Marketplace, south of Rio Salado, between 101 and McClintock. Fisher Tools has been building the valley for over 60 years. Come check us out and browse our huge selection of tools and anything you need to do the job right. We're also online at fishertools.com. KUPD listeners will receive 10% off their order when you mention this ad. Fisher Tools. If we don't have it, we can't sell it.
Total Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We have unlimited data that never slows you down, covered by the Verizon 5G network, and all for less than $30 a month when you get 4 lines. And the best part, we give you a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G when you switch to the 5G Unlimited or 5G Plus Unlimited plan. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
An early start to the weekend series for ASU baseball on KDUS AM 1060. Join the Sun Devils this Thursday evening as they return home to play host against Texas Tech. Coach Willie Bloomquist knows his team has the tools they need in order to come out on top. Join the voice of the Sun Devils, Tim Healy. It's ASU baseball versus Texas Tech. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:30 right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com/Sun Devils.
All this Suns talk kind of ignored the Diamondbacks. Start a series this afternoon. They're on the East Coast to play the Miami Marlins. First pitch for today's game will be at 3:40. Merrill Kelly on the bump tonight, correct? Yes, 3:40, Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly taking the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. And I'm sure there are some of you out there that wake up every day and you check the standings and you want to just throw something at the computer screen when you see where the Diamondbacks are in the standings in the NL West. That you see a team that's overall playing some solid baseball. I wouldn't say they're playing their best baseball, but playing solid baseball. They feel like they're starting to come alive offensively. They start to feel like they're settling in with their pitching staff. And the string of results where you win 6 of 8 and you win 5 in a row, those types of stretches feel like they're right around the corner. But it can be frustrating to wake up, go to ESPN, USA Today, wherever you go, and see the standings and see that the Diamondbacks sit 4th in the NL West. And I am going to try to tell you why there is one thing over these first 16 games for the Arizona Diamondbacks that should allow you to breathe a sigh of relief, that should make you not worried that the Diamondbacks sit 4.5 games back right now of the teams in the NL West. And that one thing is how good this bullpen has been in the early part of the season. They lead the majors amongst bullpens with a .84 whip. They have issued the fewest walks 10 of them. They have the third lowest batting average against, 180. They rank fourth in the National League with 59 strikeouts, fifth with a 3.29 ERA. I saw those numbers in a Bob McManaman story, opinion piece that he wrote about how good this Diamondbacks bullpen has been. And I will tell you, you want to have staying power in baseball, you want me to believe that you can handle yourself over 162 games. I mean, these seasons are long. You can go through a nice 15, 20-game stretch where your offense is clicking. You can go through 1-2 times through the rotation where you just get good start after good start. You want me to take you seriously? You want to be for real? You want the national media to respect you as a baseball team? You got to have a good bullpen. You have to have a bullpen that closes out games. If you hand the bullpen a lead in the 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning, you have to have a group that's going to turn that into a W. You have to. You want to be a playoff team? You want to win a World Series? Have to have a bullpen. The Dodgers just won a World Series. They had 3 starters. They had a great offense, but they had a bullpen that Dave Roberts trusted day after day. Twice. Once in the NLCS, once in the World Series, went to a bullpen game, had an opener, trusted his bullpen, or just gave a game away because that's how much confidence he had in his group. Now, he was kind of forced into it, but he had guys that he trusted. The Diamondbacks so far, offense isn't always clicking. It looks like they're starting to turn a corner, and now they're going to get Ketel Marte back here pretty soon. Where are we in the series of weeks with Ketel Marte? Has anybody checked in on?
We're in week number 2
of the series of weeks. Okay, so potentially we're close. Potentially. So an offense that Corbin Carroll's been great. Josh Naylor's been great. Jake McCarthy looks like he's breaking out a little bit. Alec Thomas has had a good start to the season. All nice things coming offensively. Corbin Burns had his best start in a Diamondback uniform. Zach Gallen picked up the win yesterday. Seems like the snowball is rolling downhill for this rotation. And all while that's starting to come together, all while that's starting to come into focus, you know what has just been there the whole time? Riding the ship for the Diamondbacks? This bullpen. This bullpen that still doesn't have Kevin Ginkel back. This bullpen that has watched Justin Martinez be excellent. Shelby Miller and Jalen Beeks, late additions to this team, have been some of their better relievers. Ryan Nelson has been an excellent swingman, longman for this team, mop-up duty, giving this team quality innings. This is a strength of this team, and it is a strength that should allow you to not worry about where they are in the standings. If you have a bullpen, if you have the guys that can get the final 6, 9, 12 outs of a baseball game, you have a chance. You will be able to make noise. If we were talking about an offense that was first in the National League, and we were talking about a pitching staff that was middle of the road, maybe a little bit above average, but you had a bullpen that was one of the worst in baseball, you're just giving away games, giving away wins. You can't do that. You can't give away games, especially with how good the Dodgers have started, how good the Padres have started, how good the Giants have started. You can't give away games. Guess what? The Diamondbacks, their bullpen, they're not giving away games here through the first 16. Have they had nights where the starter hasn't had it? Absolutely. Have they had nights where their offense has gone really cold? Absolutely. Those things, those sides of the ball, we believe are going to turn a corner. We believe are in the process of turning a corner. If you don't have a good bullpen, at some point you run out of options. There are a limited number of arms that you can turn to. We believe that Corbin Burns is going to go on a stretch here. We believe that Zach Gallen is capable of being an ace. This bullpen is showing in the early going that they are capable of holding leads and locking down games late. That, to me, should be the most encouraging sign out of these first 16 games.
The bullpen, to me, is the second, if not the most important thing as you get into October baseball. Look, 2 years ago, when Diamondbacks go to the World Series, that Phillies bullpen falls apart, and that propels them to the World Series. If you can shut the door in 7, 8, 9, you got a good chance of making a deep playoff run.
You cannot win in this sport if you every night don't know how you're getting the final 9 outs. The Diamondbacks right now don't have that problem. The results will come. Hour number 1 of the program in the books. When we come back, hour number 2. We talked yesterday about the team maybe making a front office change. Would a front office change actually mean change? That's next. The lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Let me ask you a question. What's worse? A lawyer throwing on a leather jacket to try to convince people that he rides, or a lawyer standing up saying he fights for the motorcycle community when he's never gone to court for them once? Hi, I'm Mark Breyer.
And I'm Alexis Breyer. We're the husband and wife law team. And everybody in the motorcycle community knows the husband and wife law team for decades has been promoting motorcycle safety. And we show up in court to fight for you. Call the husband and wife law team first.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have two nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, but our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Pierce the Veil. I Can't Hear You World Tour 2025. Pierce the Veil. Live in concert in Phoenix. With Sleeping with Sirens and Beach Weather. Live at Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, June 15th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
We're in Raising Cane's with the man that started it all.
Wait, are you the Yes Chef guy?
We got chicken fingers, crinkle cut fries, Texas toast, and their world famous cane sauce. Shed a tear right now.
Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Welcome into hour number 2 of the lunch break. Chris Schubert here with you. KDUS AM 1060. Perhaps you're listening on the KDUS AM 1060 app. If you are, you can listen for your chance to win 4 tickets to Arizona Diamondbacks when they take on the Atlanta Braves on Saturday, April 26th at Chase Field. And you're going to want to get to that game early to get a Diamondbacks replica jersey courtesy of Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort. The first 25,000 fans at the game will get one. Get your tickets at dbacks.com/SGT. So you're listening on the app. You're logged in while you're listening. You can have a chance to win 4 tickets to the Diamondbacks when they take on the Braves. They're on the road, though, tonight, this afternoon, 3:40 against the Miami Marlins. I want to dive back into the Phoenix Suns in a conversation that we kind of started yesterday, talking about how a head coaching change can't be the only thing that this team does this offseason. And yes, I know there are going to be different players on this team. That wasn't what I was getting at yesterday. What I was getting at yesterday, and we outlined it, is this can't stop with the coach. It has to also extend to the front office. There need to be major changes in the front office. That James Jones needs to be gone from his role as the president of basketball operations. And not because I think James Jones has done a terrible, awful job. Can't believe he's had the job for this long. This was the guy that was the architect, one of the architects of a team that was 2 wins away from the NBA Finals. So he knows what he's doing. He's not awful at this job. The last couple of years just have not been good. And I think the Suns could help themselves by bringing somebody in with experience, bringing somebody in who has been a president of basketball operations and has built a team that has won a championship, has some new ideas, and is just a fresh voice to the conversation. That's what I said yesterday. I still believe that the Suns would be better off going that direction. But there was a story written in The Athletic yesterday that made me wonder if that would even do anything. Because when Coach Bud got fired yesterday, there was a story written on The Athletic reporting from Doug Holler, Sam Amick, Fred Katz. So 3 reporters teamed up to write this story. And they talked about firing Coach Bud, what might be next. And I want to read to you a little blurb from this story because it does make me wonder if a front office change would actually do anything. Quote, "The fate of president of basketball operations, James Jones, is not yet known, but his contract expires at the end of June, league sources said. And Ishbia is widely expected to consider new candidates for the role," end quote. Producer Evan, that sounds great, right? Contracts ending in June, but Ishbia widely expected to consider different people from that role. That should put a smile to my face. I think there should be changes in the front office. I should be excited by that sentence. No? You think?
Not if they wait till June.
Well, no, the June part, that's just when his contract is up. But we should be excited that Ishbia is expected to consider different candidates. We should take that and be excited about it, right?
Is that enough, though?
I'm about to take a bucket of cold water and throw it all over that because the next paragraph says something that undoes the optimism that you might have that Ishbia is considering new people. Quote, "Jones has been with the Suns since 2017 and has held the lead role in the front office since 2019. Though league and team sources say Ishbia and CEO Josh Bartelstein assumed far more prominent roles in trade negotiations and team operations this season," end quote. And therein lies the problem. Because I can advocate to making a change in the front office. I can say to all of you, this team needs a new voice. This team needs somebody with fresh ideas. If those fresh ideas are not going to be listened to, if that fresh voice is going to fall on deaf ears because truly the people that are making the decisions are Matt Ishbia and the CEO, Josh Bartelstein, if actually the trade negotiations and team operations are being done by those two gentlemen, then it doesn't matter if James Jones's contract gets extended. It doesn't matter if the team wants to go in a different direction in the front office. Because if the people at the top, the owner who's not going anywhere, and the CEO who doesn't seem like he's going anywhere, if those are really the two gentlemen that are making the decisions, this story said they had far more prominent roles in trade negotiations. If only there was a major trade that the Phoenix Suns may or may not have to orchestrate this summer. If only there was a franchise-defining move that this team might have to make or will make in the coming months. James Jones doesn't look like he's going to be a part of that process, nor would somebody new in that spot. So you can want fresh voices like I do. You can want somebody who may think outside of the box. I want that. I think the Suns would be better off doing that. But if you're just going to bring in a new person and they're going to be mostly ignored and they're just going to mostly defer to Ishbia and the CEO, then all the Suns would be doing by firing James Jones and bringing somebody new in would be paying lip service to the fans. Fans have called for a change in the front office. I've called for a change in the front office. Feels like it's time. If nothing actually inherently changes with the process, then it doesn't matter who holds the title of president of basketball operations. It doesn't matter. It's not going to change the process that got us into this mess. Remember when I said yesterday the Suns have to continue to take those steps forward and prove that they have learned from their mistakes? Yesterday, they took one small step forward. The worry is that they would take 2 steps backwards. If they continue to operate with Ishbia and Bartlestein having, as this story iterates, far more prominent roles in trade negotiations and team operations this season. If they took more of the reins this season, that's what this is saying, right? That the owner, the CEO decided, you know what, this isn't working. This is kind of going off the rails. We are going to insert ourselves a little more. We're going to insert ourselves a little more with trade negotiations. We're going to insert ourselves more with team operations. Now, what does that mean? Were they handling a lot of the trade calls for Kevin Durant? Were they handling a lot of the calls when the team traded the unprotected 2031 first-round pick to Utah in exchange for 3 firsts over the next couple of years? Were they the ones that sent the final call for Yusuf Nurkic? Were they the ones handling that trade with Charlotte? How involved are we getting here? What does far more prominent roles actually mean? And here's the question I have. Did they learn from taking that more hands-on approach? Did they take that hands-on approach and think to themselves, man, this just didn't work. We got to get somebody new in here. We have to get a fresh voice. We got to change things up. Or did they take the reins of things and think to themselves, we just didn't do this soon enough. We didn't take more control soon enough, so we're just going to oversee this whole thing now. That, to me, would be the scariest outcome. Because honestly, then, I don't know if it matters who you hire as your head coach. Doesn't matter if you keep James Jones or move on from James Jones. It doesn't matter what you do with Bradley Beal. It is going to matter what you do with Kevin Durant. And do you trust this group? If they took on a more hands-on approach and it didn't work out, do you trust this group to get the most of a Kevin Durant trade? This is the stuff that would scare me. This is the stuff that makes me wonder if they did learn. Now, the story doesn't say that they're going to continue to have a more hands-on approach. Maybe they saw the snowball sliding down the hill and they just tried to get in the way to stop it, and now they'll reset. We'll see. We'll see from the actions that they take. But this little throwaway line in this story really, really concerns me. I am scared of what the ramifications of this could be. Because then maybe they didn't learn. Maybe they aren't going to learn from their mistakes, admit their past failings. Because you can't change the owner. The CEO's not going anywhere. So I just worry for those like myself who think a front office change is needed. Would things actually change?
I wonder if anything has to do with James Jones isn't their guy. He's not one they brought in. He was here when Ishbia bought the team. How much does that have to do with if Ishbia is able to bring in his own guy? Is he going to have less say, take a step back? Or no, is that just going to be we're going to hire somebody and they become more of a figurehead under Ishbia?
Well, here's what's really interesting about that is you've had multiple reasons to move on from James Jones the last couple of years, if you wanted to.
And they haven't.
You got rid of Monty. The moment you got rid of Monty, you could have also gotten rid of James Jones and said, listen, I just got here, I know, but I want a clean slate. I want to bring in my guys. We kind of thought this was sliding out of control. We went to the finals, and then the next year we were an early exit. We just got to change things up. And so I'm making changes in the front office. I'm making changes in the coaching ranks. You could have done what Denver did with Michael Malone and Calvin Booth and got rid of both guys all in one fell swoop, but you didn't do that. And then the next year, after you had Vogel, and that didn't work out, you could have again decided, you know what, this isn't working. We need to just fresh voices across the board. And you didn't. So I hear you, but they've had chances to do this, and they haven't. Is it because James Jones doesn't stand in the way when they want to get involved and meddle and be in a more prominent role like the story outlines? I just don't know. We're not in the room. We don't know what it actually means to have a far more prominent role. and we are guessing at whether or not they've learned from their mistakes. This would scare me because I think more so than the coaching staff, the front office needs changing. That is where things have gone off the rails. The Kevin Durant trade, the Bradley Beal move, the building a bench over the last couple of years. That is where this team has failed. The coaching has been a part of it. But Frank Vogel won 49 games 2 years ago. It doesn't happen on accident. So you hired a pretty decent coach in Frank Vogel. I think a lot of what has doomed this franchise is the mistakes they have made in the front office. And until we see the Kevin Durant trade, until we see what they do in the offseason with bringing in other players, sending other players away, what they do in the draft, until we see a complete picture of the overhaul that they make with this roster, we're not going to know if they've learned their lesson. But here is what I will tell you sitting here right now. If it is still going to be Ishbia and Bartelstein being prominent in the decision-making process, then I will tell you, it does not matter if James Jones is here or not. I know most of you want a front office change. I've heard from you. Comments on our YouTube videos, comments during our live streams. I've heard you say that the front office has to go. I agree with you. But I'm here to tell you, it does not matter if they make a change in the front office, if Matt Ishbia is still the one that is going to, and he's an owner, it's his right, he's allowed to do this, but if he is going to not allow the people he hires to do their jobs, then it doesn't matter who is sitting in the president of basketball operations chair. It just doesn't. 480-864-1060 is the phone number if you want to join the conversation here today. We've also got you on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. When we come back, the 2025 NFL draft is right around the corner. There is pressure building for the Arizona Cardinals. Do they have buyer's remorse on their first-round pick from a year ago? That's next, the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show live with Vince D'Alessio every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Features all the local youth, high school, college sports, and more, both around the Valley and beyond. Enjoy go-to segments with coaches and players from around the Valley. Tune in to the Varsity Sports Show with Vince and guests Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and the KDUS 1060 app.
Pima JTED doesn't just work for students, it works for all of Arizona. Hands-on training, real-world skills, high school students become job-ready, and Arizona businesses get the talent they need to thrive. Without a skilled workforce, Arizona can't grow. But with Pima JTED graduates, our entire economy prospers. Join the businesses already investing in Arizona's future. Learn more at PimaJTED.org. That's PimaJTED.org. This message is sponsored by Potoff Private Philanthropy.
That often requires only simple maintenance. However, if left untreated, could lead to costly repairs. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello from A1 Garage Door Service. Don't wait until a simple garage door repair becomes a major problem. If your garage door is noisy, if bugs are getting in, or if it struggles to open, your garage door is in need of repair. From simple repairs to upgrades, it's A1 from day one. We fix garage doors fast and with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. Our springs, rollers, and openers are tested by running them up and down, open and closed all day, 24/7, so you can feel confident with every A1 garage door repair. Replacing the bottom rubber on your garage door can have a huge impact on the number of bugs you see in your garage and in your home. Keep those creepy crawlers outside by calling A1 Garage Door Service today and receive the best service, best parts, and best warranty in the industry.
A1Garage.com. A1 from day one.
Call today and take advantage of our $29.95 tune-up special.
Rock legend Billy Idol. Live in Phoenix. Billy Idol. It's a nice day to tour again. With very special guest Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Live at Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, April 30th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Travis Hunter stands at a crossroads. A potential pick at both cornerback and wide receiver, his rare versatility allows him the potential to dictate his own future. But if money is any factor in this decision, this offseason may have quietly made the choice for him. Jamar Chase just became the highest paid non-quarterback in the sport at just over $40 million per year. Meanwhile, Derek Stingley Jr. set the bar for defensive backs at $30 million, a massive contract, yet still a full tier below what elite receivers command. Even the franchise tag numbers tell the same story. $24 million for wideouts, $21 million for corners. Hunter is an elite talent at both positions, but in a league obsessed with offensive playmakers, the economic scales are tipped a little bit. The game today is built for guys catching passes, not covering them. The question isn't just where he'll play, it's whether he'll chase history or chase the money. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it really easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and the best selection of Falken tires. Go to TireRack.com/Dan, see their Falken test results, tire ratings, and reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to stand out, and that's where True Green comes in. Here's the best part. It's more affordable than you think. They'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Not happy? They will come back between visits to make it right. So don't wait. Head to truegreen.com today and let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results. Exclusions apply. See truegreen.com for details.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
You know, I see these stories from time to time, and they pique my interest. So I bring them to the table to see if they pique your interest. This one has to do with the NFL draft, and has to do with redrafting the 2024 NFL draft. So the 2025 NFL draft right around the corner, right? We a week from Thursday, it will be draft day. That's correct. Yes. A week from Thursday, this Thursday, a week
from Thursday. Can't even
day.
Sleep right now. All I'm thinking about is the draft.
We, at one point during the morning meeting today, went on a sidebar of looking at the 2024 draft because I forget why we looked at it, but I found my predictions for the 2024 NFL draft. And we spent 15, 20 minutes instead of continuing to prep for the show.
Complete sidebar.
Now, maybe that's why if you think the show isn't good today, then that's why, because that 15, 20 minute sidebar. If you think the show is excellent today, then it's because that we sidebar.
Yes.
So it can go both ways.
If you were waiting for this segment, this is probably because of our sidebar.
It's because of the sidebar. If you think the show has not been very good today and you are, you got to do something. You want us to do something on the program, then you may pretend that the sidebar is the reason why the show isn't very good today. So this article about redrafting the 2024 NFL draft on The Athletic today starts off with a doozy. Instead of taking Caleb Williams, they have the Chicago Bears taking Jaden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. Do we think that's a little bit too reactionary? Because Caleb Williams is still a good quarterback.
Okay, here's what I'll tell you about Caleb Williams. Anybody selling stock, I'm buying. I'm buying any Caleb Williams stock that they're selling right now. But you have to take Jaden if you're doing a redraft just 1 year later, just given everything that's going on.
Number two, they have the Washington Commanders, instead of taking Jaden Daniels, since he's no longer available, taking Caleb Williams. They have the Patriots taking Drake May, their same pick. Then we get to number 4 in the Arizona Cardinals.
Now, I can vividly remember, I don't know the day, but I can vividly remember sitting here reading a story. It was in the middle of the NFL season. And somebody at the midway point of the season already was doing the let's redo the 2024 NFL draft. We were not even halfway through the season, and we were already redrafting the 2024 NFL draft. And it had the Cardinals not taking Marvin Harrison Jr. and instead taking Malik Neighbors. And the conversation we had at the time was that Marvin Harrison Jr. is off to a slow start. But I am not going to change my entire draft plans because of a slow start. Well, here we are, 2 Thursdays away from the 2025 NFL draft, and all this time has gone by. And in this redraft today, Malik Neighbors is the pick to the Cardinals at number 4, not Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, Malik Neighbors had an awesome season, set the NFL record for receptions in a season by a rookie with 109, had 1,204 total yards and 7 touchdowns, and he had Daniel Jones, me, and Evan throwing him touchdown passes throughout the course of the season. He had one of the worst quarterback rooms in football, and he was able to put up those numbers. So I get it. I understand why you would flip these picks. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it.
It's not just the numbers, though, Chris. Watch them play, both of them.
They're different players. They're different
players. I get it. They are different players. But there is a comfortability. You watch Neighbors, and 5 minutes into the tape, you're like, okay, he can play. He can play.
You said, okay, but...
And it's, glaring how good he is in the eye test.
Yes.
And then you watch Marv, and 60% of snaps he's taking off or he's jogging. He can't really separate that well. And the things that we thought could be a problem, they're a problem. They're a problem. And Neighbors is running out there with the best of them. Chris, you aren't lying. I threw a pass to Malik Neighbors in an NFL game last year. And guess what? He had 1,200 yards still.
Yes. Listen, if you're comparing the situation that Malik Neighbors had to the situation that Marv had, Marv should have put up awesome numbers, right? There's no doubt that by anybody's standards, Marvin Harrison Jr. did not have a standout rookie season. I am going to concede that point. But what I am going to emphasize, and the reason why we brought this up, the reason why we wanted to talk about this today, we saw this, and one of the questions we kicked around is, there's pressure on this team to find contributors in the 2025 NFL draft. Starters, right? We had that conversation last week. There is pressure for this team to make the playoffs. There is pressure for them to add to this roster. There's pressure. There's pressure surrounding this team in various different ways. There's also pressure surrounding Marvin Harrison Jr. when you see stories like this. And there's an extension of, did the Cardinals get it right? Should that make us concerned that they're going to get it right with the 16th overall pick? But I think a bigger picture than that is there pressure on Marvin Harrison Jr. to have a massive breakout season next season? Or can he just continue to develop the way that he has been developing and not worry about the outside noise? That's the question that I have.
I don't need him to have 1,400 yards. I don't need him to be a top 5 receiver in football or have this massive breakout season. But there is pressure to make a step forward. If he, not as bad, he was not a bad player last year. I'm not saying that. But if he does not grow coming into next season, I think there is legitimate concern. We talked about the pressure on Kyler Murray this year. Mm-hmm. It is not as great on Marvin.
No.
But it is a significant amount of pressure to be better.
I think many people assumed that when you took Marvin Harrison Jr. with the number 4 overall pick, that by making him the first wide receiver off the board, that you were going to see a Jamar Chase level season, a Devonta Smith level season, a Jalen Waddle season, a Tyreek Hill season, a Justin Jefferson season. Just name one of your, favored top wide receivers and the type of numbers that
Brian Thomas Jr. type of season.
And I don't know if that was ever a fair. I see what you did there. I don't know if those types of expectations were ever fair, right? The way the Cardinals run their offense was never going to allow that to be the output. Could he have been better? Absolutely. Do I think this makes me concerned about the Cardinals and their talent evaluation for next Thursday? No. I don't worry at all about their ability to evaluate talent. We don't need to do the thing. We've done it before on the show where we pull up the draft classes and we tell you how many starters they found over the last couple of years. We've done it. You can listen to it wherever you listen to your podcasts, okay? The lunch break, wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to us do it, where we went through the last 2 draft classes and we identified starter, just a bunch of starters across the board. So we know that this team and this organization can evaluate talent.
I also think 32 teams would have taken Marv at 4. 32 teams would have taken him.
And I think, you know what? I'll play it.
Both feet on the ground, stand by what I said.
I think if you ask the Cardinals today, they would not want to do over. They would.
Both feet on the ground, stand by what I said.
They would stand by what they did. They would not change their pick. They believe in Marvin Harrison Jr. I believe in Marvin Harrison Jr.
And I'm not saying that I don't believe Marvin Harrison Jr. This is not a Marv is a bad player. This is a how high I am on Malik Neighbors and what I think he is in the NFL. Now, if you take me back to 2024 in April, I would sit here and say Marv is can't miss. Marv is can't miss. And I would have taken him at 4 if you put me back in that spot. I would have taken him at 4 again. But I just think that Neighbors, so far, 1 year in, is the better player.
I usually don't love these redraft conversations. They most of the time feel like a foolish endeavor. But the fact that we're close to the 2025 NFL draft, I think this is a nice time to look back and what I think is important and where I think the redraft conversation is fair is talking about process. And talking about, did we attack the draft in the right way? I have no issue with the process.
They're both good players.
Could they have taken a wide receiver who last year gave them better production? Yes, they could have taken Malik Neighbors, and on paper, they would have not changed their pick if we did this and they had taken Malik Neighbors originally. Absolutely, I get it. But the process, 100% fine. And at the end of the day, your process has to be good, because as long as your process is good, and this is the extension of the conversation leading into next Thursday, as long as the process is good, then you are more often than not going to find starters. You more often than not are going to hit on those blue chip prospects. So going into the pressure that this draft has on this team, the season that this team is going to have, the pressure that's going to be on them, I love the process. So could they have gotten somebody who put up better numbers? Yes. But you know what?
Both feet on the ground, stand by what I said.
I'm not changing the pick. I am sticking with Marvin Harrison Jr., and I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. Coming up on the other side of the break, your phone call is always welcome, 480-864-1060. Also got you on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream as well. The playoffs in the NBA are about to start. And while the Suns will be sitting at home, they still matter quite a bit. Tell you why next. The lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show live with Vince D'Alessio every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Features all the local youth, high school, college sports, and more, both around the Valley and beyond. Enjoy go-to segments with coaches and players from around the Valley. Tune in to the Varsity Sports Show with Vince and guests, Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and the KDUS 1060 app.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
We're chatting with our guest, always safety first, 811 Megaphone Man.
Call 811 before you dig.
You never stray from your mission of letting homeowners, landscapers, and excavators know you should always call 811 before you dig.
Call 811.
Call for both small and big jobs. And 2 working days in advance?
811.
Any parting words? And I'm guessing they will be...
Call
Brought to you by Southwest Gas.
811.
It starts with a simple order. A cold Dos Equis dressed with salt and lime. But for the salt clinging to the bottle and the lime perched on top, this is the luckiest of unions. As if the universe has swiped right, pairing flavors together with a crisp Dos Equis. This is refreshment designed by fate, blessed by destiny, and served by bartenders. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Buy now, save big at Little Dealer. Little prices, save thousands of dollars before prices go up. Act fast and lock in huge savings before new tariffs drive RV prices higher. Right now, you can save thousands of dollars on select in-stock tariff-free RVs and get a $1,000 trade-in bonus when you upgrade. This inventory won't last long, and future pricing may not be protected. Don't miss your chance to buy before the increase. Get the RV you've been waiting for at the best possible price only at Little Dealer, little prices. On select in-stock units only. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Hi, Luis Gonzalez here. Want to bet? Feel the thrill of Casino Arizona with 1,400 of the hottest slots and nonstop table game action. We make winners, no experience necessary. Join us for the best bingo in the valley with daily sessions. Indulge in all-you-can-eat Eagles Buffet or enjoy fine dining experience at the award-winning Choya Steakhouse. Enjoy top-notch local entertainment, tribute bands, and viewing parties at CAZ Sports Bar, just off the 101 in McKellips. Casino Arizona, uniquely Arizona.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, Saturday, August 2nd. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. It's about to get heavy. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KTUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Tonight, a couple of play-in tournament games in the NBA. First up, you have the Hawks and the Magic, 7 versus 8 in the East. Then at 7 o'clock, it is the Grizzlies and the Warriors, 7 versus 8 in the West. And then we'll have a couple of more games tomorrow. 9th and 10th matchups between the Heat and the Bulls and the Mavs and the Kings. And the playoffs officially get underway tonight with the play-in tournament. And it is still an important time for the Phoenix Suns, even though they are not playing during the playoffs, because they are going to keep a close eye on the teams that have shorter runs than expected in the playoffs. Teams that fizzle out in the postseason. Teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are the 1 seed in the West. Teams like the Rockets, who are the 2 seed in the West. The 3-seeded New York Knicks over on the Eastern Conference side of things. Teams that have sizable expectations. Teams that, I think if you dropped into Oklahoma City sports radio or Houston sports radio, and I know from personal experience dropping into New York sports radio, the expectations for just those 3 teams that we mentioned are you should probably be in the conference finals at a minimum. You've got teams like Minnesota, who up until this point have had somewhat of a disappointing season, and they're the 6th seed. Memphis, they could go out as early as this week. The Suns need to keep a close eye on all of the teams that could potentially be interested in Kevin Durant this summer. If the Thunder win a championship, they are not going to feel the burden. They are not going to feel the pressure of trading for Kevin Durant. If Houston goes all the way to the NBA Finals and they lose in 7 games, are they going to feel super emboldened to trade for Kevin Durant? Maybe they feel like they're one missing piece away.
But I feel it's way more likely that if they go out in the first round or they go out in the conference semis, that's when you start looking for that big piece that takes you over the top. If the Knicks get bounced in the first round by the Pistons, you think New York is going to sit idly by this summer and not make changes to their roster? Mikal Bridges is due a contract extension. Hasn't played all that great there in New York. It all depends on how these teams perform in the postseason. If Houston wins a title, if the Thunder win the title, if the Knicks go on a run and win a championship, you can take their name off the list. They are not going to feel the pressure. They are not going to feel the heat coming from their fan base to make a move to put them over the top. And the best thing that can happen for the Phoenix Suns is a Cavs team that wins it all, a Boston team that wins it all, a Lakers team that wins it all. You want quick exits for the Thunder, the Rockets, the Timberwolves, the Grizzlies, the Knicks, because you want the most teams to come to the table needing that one additional piece that puts them over the top. And so, I don't like to be the guy that roots for other teams to lose, but I'm rooting against the Thunder. I'm rooting against the Rockets. I am rooting against the Knicks. I am rooting against these teams because it is in the best interest of the Phoenix Suns for those teams to not do well this postseason. Because all of those teams, if they miss their expectations, if the Knicks fall short of the conference finals, if the Thunder and Rockets don't make it to the conference finals, they're going to look internally and ask themselves, what are we missing? What is that missing ingredient? And if they know, because we all know, producer Evan knows, everybody that works in this building that isn't associated with the sports radio department, everybody in this building knows Kevin Durant's getting traded this summer. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had this week over these 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, talking about the future of the Suns, and Kevin Durant's name has come up. Everybody knows that Kevin Durant is getting traded this summer. All of these teams know that a superstar player of Kevin Durant's caliber is just going to be sitting out there for you to make a trade with the Phoenix Suns, for you to put together a package that entices the Phoenix Suns to make this move. And you don't really have to sweeten the pot all that much. And so any of these teams that miss their mark, that fail to meet the expectations, are going to look for that one piece that can take them over the top. And Kevin Durant, for almost all of these teams, could be that missing piece, could be that missing ingredient. So the Phoenix Suns will not be participating tonight. They will not be participating tomorrow. They're not participating at all this postseason. But this postseason absolutely matters to what the Phoenix Suns are going to be able to do this summer with the Kevin Durant trade. It is going to have a direct impact on the quality of the return that they can get this summer. We've been on record. We think 2 first-round picks, 1 starter, 1 young player would be fair with me. I think that would be a home run deal for the Phoenix Suns. That would move them in the right direction. But you need enough teams in the bidding war. You need enough teams that Kevin Durant is interested in going to. You need enough teams to drive up that bidding war. And so your best way to do that is have a bunch of these teams flame out, to have a bunch of these teams fall short in their pursuit of a championship. I mean, you've got the Warriors and the Grizzlies that are playing tonight. One of those teams could potentially not get in. The loser is going to have to win another game if they're going to get in as the 8th seed and then take the Thunder in the first round. Could have a team as early as this week be atop the list of potential Kevin Durant suitors. So all the teams that we knew were interested in at the deadline. Timberwolves, now that they got their ownership situation figured out, keep an eye on them. The Rockets, because they have the Suns draft picks. The Knicks, because it's New York, and you know that if they fall short, they get bounced in the second round by Boston. People are going to want some changes, and Kevin Durant might be the change that they want. The Thunder, if they fall short, may want to bring Kevin Durant home. Golden State may reevaluate in the summer. You just don't know who might quietly emerge as a potential candidate. But you want the most amount of teams at the table. You want to have the most suitors because that allows you to get close to maximum value. That allows you to make sure you set yourself up for success down the road. Hey, if you're listening on the KDUS AM 1060 app, make sure you're logged in and registered because you can listen for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Arizona Diamondbacks when they take on the Atlanta Braves on Saturday, April 26th at Chase Field. And make sure you get to the game early to get a Diamondbacks replica jersey courtesy of Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort. The first 25,000 fans at the game will get one. You can always get your tickets at dbacks.com/SGT. So make sure if you're listening on the app, you are logged in, registered while you are listening, and you'll be entered for a chance to win 4 tickets to Diamondbacks Braves on Saturday, April 26th. We've got one more segment here on the Tuesday edition of The Lunch Break. It's the leftovers, all the stories that we didn't get to throughout the course of the show. We hand the show over to producer Evan, and he tells us all the things that we missed here throughout the program. We'll do it next. It is The Lunch Break, KDUS AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show live with Vince D'Alicio every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Features all the local youth, high school, college sports, and more, both around the Valley and beyond. Enjoy go-to segments with coaches and players from around the Valley. Tune in to the Varsity Sports Show with Vince and guests Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and the KDUS 1060 app.
Looking to sell your home? Hi, I'm Andrew the Home Buyer, and I love making it easy to sell your house. I'll personally come and give you a cash offer the same day we meet, and I'll beat any other offer. It really is that easy to sell your home, and no need to clean or fix anything. I'll buy it in as-is condition. Call me, Andrew the Home Buyer, today to get your same-day cash offer. Visit andrewthehomebuyer.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
A new diamond era begins. Desert Diamond Casino White Tanks is now open. There's even more of your favorite slots and tables, a sports book, an atmosphere sparkling with excitement, and top names like the legendary Morton's Steakhouse and signature Starbucks coffee. Best of all, this stunning new destination is right at Loop 303 and Northern Parkway. So come and live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino.
An enterprise of the Donna Automation.
This next song goes out to Cox Mobile for letting me video call my dog while we're on tour. From San Diego to Boston, I said hi, you started barking. Cox Mobile's got the bars to keep us both howling.
We run on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability. So whether you're at a concert or on the road, you'll stay connected. Visit cox.com/mobile. Cox Internet required. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability per Ookla US 2H 2024. Other restrictions apply.
An early start to the weekend series for ASU baseball on KDUS AM 1060. Join the Sun Devils this Thursday evening as they return home to play host against Texas Tech. Coach Willie Bloomquist knows his team has the tools they need in order to come out on top. Join the voice of the Sun Devils, Tim Healy. It's ASU baseball versus Texas Tech. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:30 right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com/Sun Devils.
Back to wrap up today's edition of The Lunch Break. Chris Schubert with you. If you missed anything from the show today, search The Lunch Break wherever you get your podcasts, and you can catch up with the program. It's the leftovers, all the things we didn't get to throughout the course of the show, or all the things that producer Evan found interesting that we didn't touch on. So we pass the show over to him, and I just sit back and react to everything that he says for the next 10 minutes. So producer Evan, take it away.
Okay. All right. So we'll start in baseball. Today's Jackie Robinson Day. Just wanted to touch on that. I actually think it's like one of the cooler things that Major League Baseball does where everybody wears 42.
Yep.
I think it's also cool that like the other couple of years ago now, they changed. It's not just like it's not going to be in D-back script 42. It's like the Dodgers kind of script for the 42 on the back. I just think it looks nice. It's something cool. And it's a great way to kind of pay tribute to Jackie Robinson.
I enjoy that on the transaction page. It shows that everybody's jersey number has been changed to 42 because it's an official transaction that occurs on the team page. Everybody's number becomes 42 for the day. But yes, a celebration of one of the more important, not just baseball figures, sports figures, but figures in American history. So yes, a day like today should always be celebrated. And so really cool that baseball does this. And one of the things they do really, really well. So yes.
NBA play-in starts tonight. You touched on it. Hawks at Magic, Grizzlies at Warriors. And then tomorrow you got the 9-10 games. Two things. One, I want to get your picks on the games tonight. Two, I'm starting to think that the same four teams in the East are going to play in this thing every year.
The East is something. The East is certainly something. First matchup is Magic and the Hawks. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I can't say I've watched a ton of Orlando Magic and Atlanta Hawks basketball. You know what? We have a drop for this.
You're supposed to be better prepared.
I'm supposed to be with better info and intel for this. I'm going to go with the Hawks.
I like it. I like it.
And then I've got somebody's playing the Warriors, right? It's Grizzlies Warriors.
Yeah, Grizzlies Warriors.
Give me the Warriors.
Yeah, I agree. Give me the Warriors.
Give me Steph Curry and the Warriors in a primetime gotta have it game. I'll take Steph and the Warriors. Thank you very much.
I'm anti-playing, by the way. I know that we've gotten good games.
Why are you anti-playing?
I just think you're going to have 10 teams.
Yeah, if 20 teams make the playoffs.
If 20 teams make the playoffs.
Yeah, I've called it the NBA gives out playoff spots like the participation trophies. I mean, I agree with that.
20 teams make it. Yeah. 5 or 10 teams in each conference. 5 in each conference.
The Suns
make it.
The Suns.
2/3 of the league goes to the playoffs.
Yeah, the Suns one of those 5 teams in the Western Conference.
Yeah, it's insane. All right, draft story of the day. You ready?
Yeah, sure.
Tyler Shuck, Louisville quarterback, has felt like a draft board climber recently. We've seen him mocked all the way up into high second round, sometimes sneaking into the first. CBS Sports wrote an article this morning with the headline that there's one anonymous coach in the league that told somebody that he would certainly take Shuck as the number 1 quarterback in the class.
I'm sorry, say that again. There was some coach.
There was an anonymous head coach in the NFL
who told this reporter
that he would take Shuck as the number 1 quarterback in the class.
So what is your question of me? I don't know what to really do with that information. What is your question of me? What I think of Tyler Shuck? Do I agree with this head coach's stupid statement? No, I do not. I do not.
Well, I just want to say I'm a Shuck fan. I went to Notre Dame last year to see them play Louisville. And he made a throw rolling left to the back of the end zone that was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I every quarterback in this class has a couple of those throws where you go, oh, I see it. I get it. I get why people talk about them as potential NFL starters. As we sit here today, believe 3 quarterbacks are going in the first round. I think Cam Ward is going number 1. I feel very confident in that. Shedeur Sanders is either going number 3 or number 9, but he's going inside the top 10. And I think somebody is trading back into the first round, and they're taking a quarterback, whether that's Jackson Dart, whether it's Jalen Milroe, whether it's Tyler Shuck, as just mentioned. Somebody is trading back in for one of those quarterbacks. So I am setting the floor at quarterbacks taken in the first round of the 2025 NFL draft at 3. If you set the number at 3.5, the betting line, I don't know what I would do, but I think 3 go in the first round. Do I think Shuck is a first-round quarterback? No, I do not. Do I think Shuck is a second-round quarterback? Somebody you take in the first half of the second round? Yeah, I think I can see the aggressiveness of wanting to move up and get your guy, and maybe he's really a third-rounder, but I'm not going to play that game on day 2. I want to make sure I get my guy. I don't have any problem with that, but I think 3 go on night 1.
I could certainly see the Giants taking a flyer on Shuck in the early second.
Well, it just all depends. I mean, they brought him in for a workout. They're also working out Shedeur Sanders for a private workout, and they're also bringing in Jalen Milroe for a private workout. One of those guys you could take at 3. The other two we're either trading back into the first round or we're taking them with pick. I think they have pick 34 or 33 in the second round. I think it's 34. I think they pick second in the second round on night 2. So 2 of those guys fit that bucket. Shedeur picks or falls into the we're going to take a quarterback at 3 bucket. So they're covering their bases ahead of the draft. I don't know what they're going to do.
Interesting article though, and I think when you touched on the 3.5, I would take the over on that. I think the Milroe getting invited to the draft,
it's so weird, right?
It's so weird that it makes me think that he's going to get picked because they try not to do that to people.
Well,
they
they have done a really good job over the last couple of years of making sure that they don't invite somebody who has a Geno Smith moment. Or somebody who, has to come back the next night and are the only person in the green room. They try to avoid that. And yet, if I remember correctly, it wasn't just Jalen Milroe. Jackson Dart also got invited.
Yeah, both of them. That's why I
can't see both of those guys.
3.5.
I can't see both of those guys going. One, yes, both. Unless the Rams are going to get frisky in the back part of the first round. If another team's going to trade in, does Cleveland get involved? I mean, you have a lot has to go your direction for 4 quarterbacks to go in the first round.
But interesting. Speaking of quarterbacks, speaking of Shedeur Sanders, did you see this out of Colorado? They decided to retire both Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter's jersey. I just want to put this out immediately. I'm okay with them retiring Travis Hunter's. He won the Heisman. We're retiring Shedeur's jersey. What's he, like total 11-13 as a starter? And I'm going to sit here, and I know this is crazy because Shedeur's going to go early in the draft, but Trenton Bourguet has a more signature college win than Shedeur Sanders ever had.
So 4 numbers have previously been retired by Colorado. Number 24, number 67, number 11, and number 19. I would not... I hear your argument for Travis Hunter and retiring his number at some point. I am not going to get on board with the idea of the moment that these guys are done, we're going to...
this soon?
Yeah, I have a problem with. Now, again, it's Colorado. We don't have a huge, massive history of being good at football, right? I mean, it has not been great for a long time. I don't know.
I just like... A little bit part of me.
Now, Sanders has the school records for career passing touchdowns, passer rating, completion percentage. So he does have some school records. He has the school record for passing touchdowns. That is noteworthy. That is something that could get your number retired. 6 days after you're done with college, before you've been drafted as a pro, I think it's a little too soon.
I just, part of me, like, they continue to be kind of a joke. Even with good players. They're just laughed at.
Yeah, that's tough.
Doing
that's
something like this, they're just continue to get laughed at. Like you look at USC, you need to win the Heisman to get your jersey and your number retired. Alabama has never retired a jersey number. Pitt has 8 Hall of Famers and 2 walking in, and they have, only a few jerseys retired. Like this is insane that they're doing this.
Speaking of Travis Hunter, did you see the quote that he gave to a CBS Sports story that if a team told him that he couldn't play both ways, that he would just be done playing football?
Yes, I did see that. That's insane. Insane. He's going to play receiver now. I keep switching back. Now I think he's going to play receiver. We talked the other day about him playing corner and then he could get snaps at receiver, but I don't know. There's no way he could play legit both ways at more than 30 snaps on each side.
So here's his quote. Quote, "It's never playing football again because I've been doing it my whole life and I love being on the football field. I feel like I could dominate on each side of the ball, so I really enjoy doing it," end quote. What does he classify as dominating each side of the ball? Because all of the scenarios that I've outlined, he is playing both sides of the ball. I would draft him as a corner and I would find him 15 to 20 plays, snaps during the game offensively. Is that enough for him to say that he's playing both ways, or does he truly want to do both? Because I can't see an NFL team allowing him to do that. But he has said none of the teams that he's met with have made an issue of him playing both sides of the ball.
I will also say I think he's a better receiver prospect. It's harder to find a corner, and it's harder to get him on the field for 20 snaps a game at corner. But I do believe he's a better receiver prospect. Like his weakness is you would label as route running, But as physical, as good as he is at the point of attack for the catch, he's lean, he's fast. He's a better receiver prospect.
I think I agree with you. I think he's more of a receiver prospect than he is a corner prospect. But if you wanted him to play both sides, I think you have to have him be a corner. But we'll see. We'll see which team, probably the Cleveland Browns, take him in the NFL draft. That's going to do it for us here. The lunch break. Jim Rome is coming up next. Producer Evan, thank you for all that you do. Everybody, have a great rest of your Tuesday. Not Thursday, it's Tuesday. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya!